It's time for another episode of The Player and the Journalist, hosted by Karson Harris and David Vick. Karson is a former All-American at Drexel, the program's all-time leading goal scorer and the CAA's leader in draw controls. I'm a journalist covering women's lacrosse since 2019 and the founder of Lacrosse Extras. In this episode, it's time to play like a champion. If you know, you know. We are thrilled to be joined by a Massachusetts native who has played for Notre Dame since she was in high school. What's up with you and Notre Dame, Madison? What's going on with that?
Well, I played for Notre Dame Academy in high school, and then I'm obviously at Notre Dame now. So, yeah, I guess it's not really a feeder school, but just coincidentally have the same name. So I don't know. It's kind of cool. I've gotten to wear Notre Dame across my chest for like 9 years now. So it's pretty awesome.
Very cool. Are the colors the same as well, or are they different?
There's no green in the high school colors, but we got some gold and navy. So, yeah, I've been repping it for a while.
Very cool. I love the green. I don't know about Karson, but I love the green.
Yeah.
I was just thinking it's funny that you pronounced them differently.
Yeah.
Why did you pronounce, this could just be me not showing how uncultured I am, but why did you pronounce them differently?
So the high school is just, I don't know, it's just Notre Dame Academy. That's just how it's, I guess, pronounced. And then this is, University of Notre Dame. So a lot of people mess that up.
Interesting. Crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some reason behind this. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say Notre Dame. Notre Dame, did I say it right?
Yeah, close.
It sounds so fancy.
Yeah, I know. It really isn't that fancy of a school, but it elevates it a little bit.
Also, Madison set so many records at that school. I'm not even going to say the name again because I don't want to butcher it. But Madison set so many records. I believe I read that you are third all time in Massachusetts state history for points. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
That's great. Who are the two people above you? Just out of curiosity.
I am not actually sure if it still remains, but I think a couple girls who played for my club team, who are a little bit older than me, which is pretty cool. One went on to play at Northwestern, and then one played at Dartmouth. I'm pretty sure those are still the two, but yeah, they're great players, so it's cool to be behind them.
Very cool. I pity the other club teams that have to play that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So my first question is, Notre Dame is just a crazy school for so many reasons. You have Touchdown Jesus. Rudy, obviously one of the greatest movies ever. And if Karson says otherwise, she's crazy. Okay. We love Rudy. Okay. And then, I don't know, it's just Notre Dame has this kind of mystique to it. So can you describe what it's like to go to a school like Notre Dame?
Yeah. I mean, you kind of said it perfectly. Notre Dame is literally just has everything. I think if I was a regular student, not an athlete at Notre Dame, I would still think it was awesome. But then just being able to play a sport at such a storied athletic school is pretty awesome as well, with like the football team and some of the other amazing programs that we have here. But I think just like the culture and the tradition is probably my favorite part of the school. And we get to kind of bring that into the lacrosse team as well, with the alma mater after every game, even if we win or we lose. I think that kind of brings us together with the rest of the school. And yeah, just like, hitting the play like a champion today sign before we walk out of the locker room, like all those little traditions, I think is what makes it pretty special for me and the rest of my teammates.
Very cool. So does every sports team have the play like a champion sign that they hit? Or
I believe so. I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me on that. But I think everybody has that, which I think is so awesome. Everyone kind of has their own routine of, like how many times they hit it, or, where they hit it on the sign before they walk out. So I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. You can make it personal too.
Very cool. What is your routine?
I usually like kind of drag my hand across it and then I hit it once at the end. I don't know. I just started at freshman year and stayed true. Even when you're, going in between practice, I always hit it going in and going out. It's pretty awesome.
Really? For every practice?
Yeah.
Wow.
Anytime you walk by it, you got to hit it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very
pretty
cool. And before Karson jumps in, are you a fan of the movie Rudy, or what are your thoughts on that?
I am. I've seen it a bunch of times. So my older sister actually went to Notre Dame too. She didn't play any sports, but she was kind of going through her decision-making process when I was about to go into recruiting, which is kind of crazy because she's like a little bit over 4 years older than me. So that was back before the rule. But I remember watching that a couple times before we went out to campus when my sister was going to go to visit and I was going to come with her just to go to like a lacrosse camp while she was out here. And I remember watching it the night before and I thought it was so cool and I couldn't wait to like see everything when I got there. And I feel like that was kind of my first introduction to Notre Dame for sure.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I love that you guys have that tradition to play like a champion. That's so fun.
Yeah.
So anyway, for those that don't know that are listening to our podcast, Notre Dame has been kind of killing it this season. What do you feel like? I mean, I feel like you guys are always like right there every season. You've just been like literally on like the brink of greatness. I think I've used those words before when talking about you guys. Like I just think you've been like right there for so long. And so but you guys are like winning those big games this year. So what do you think the spark has been like this season for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. I think every year we've been like so close to being kind of like one of those really top teams. And we've just fallen like a little bit short every year. And I think, my freshman year was the shortened COVID season, and we were undefeated, and we were going off to play UNC. We were ranked number 2 at the time, and they were ranked number 1. So that was like going to be a huge game, kind of deciding who was like the next number 1. And the season got canceled. Everyone kind of knew that that was like a really special year for us. I mean, that's all we kind of knew, like the 3 5th years that are still here. That's all we knew at the time. We didn't really know the losses or like the pain of even losing a game in college. But we kind of, were obviously upset when the season ended and all the older girls told us like, this is our year. Like, trust me, like we're beating really good teams. And then, for that to end, that was pretty heartbreaking, but kind of flash forward a couple years, 4 years now, we're kind of finishing it out. And I think we had kind of like some naive sense in us a little bit. Like we didn't really know the pain of losing. Like, I don't know if we would have finished out the season undefeated. We probably would have had some losses there our freshman year. Maybe some close 1-goal losses, but we didn't really have like that pain of losing and like learning from those mistakes and like kind of having those scars. But I think kind of in this 5th year, like the senior class and us, the senior class has 11 girls in it. And then we have 6 grad students. And I think like coming full circle, we've had like a lot of experiences of losing big games and being so disappointed in certain times, and to kind of bring like everything together at the end and kind of learn from those mistakes, but also know what it felt like to be kind of a top team in the country is really cool. So it's kind of a full circle moment for us, I think. And kind of that sense of like, this is our last chance is definitely propelling us forward with a lot of upperclassmen on the field.
I feel like it's kind of, you said that really well, because I feel like you guys have had a lot of variety of experiences in your 5 years there, like especially your COVID year being undefeated and then like losing those close games, winning those close games. Like you guys have so much experience on that field. And I think that's really noticeable when you watch your guys' games, is that like you don't really seem to get rattled. And it's probably, you just said that really well. Like I can totally see how just having that much experience and being like, you've been in every single situation at this point, like like they can't throw something at you that you haven't seen. So I think that would definitely help you guys. That makes sense. Thank you. Of
course.
So going back to February 16th, are you always going to remember February 16th?
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome. So February 16th, Notre Dame beat the number 1 ranked team in the country at the time, who I picked to win the national championship. So little do I, well, we'll see. But anyways, you beat the number 1 ranked team in the country for the first time in program history. And you talked about it earlier that Notre Dame, it's been around for so long, it has a lot of history. And so to beat the number 1 team, to make history in that way, that had to be pretty crazy. Can you talk about how special of a night that was for you, the team and the program as a whole?
Yeah. I mean, I just talked about our freshman year a little bit, and the last time we beat Northwestern was my freshman year. And it was like the second game of our college career. So that was a really special game. It was kind of like our first game against a ranked opponent, and it was Northwestern at Northwestern. And I'll never forget that game either. I remember just like totally leaning into whatever the older girls were saying and just kind of trying to do my best out there. And we came out with a win, which was really special. And then the one this year when we beat them was like, I think they're pretty equally special in my mind. And I didn't know if that could ever happen. And I think like beating them in Loftus, our indoor facility, like with everybody there, like everybody's families was there, being at home was really cool. I remember doing the alma mater I was just talking about after the game, and we kind of are like swaying with our arms around each other and looking at our families, and I like teared up a little bit because I saw some of the alums that I played with, when I was a little bit younger on the team, and they were just like so proud. You could see it in their eyes. And I mean, Northwestern is such a great team. So I think that win was just really special for us, especially, having some of those people there watching who built up the program, which was really cool.
And one of those people that was watching was the mascot. And I don't know if you noticed this while playing, but he would run behind the goals sometimes right before the free position, and they would blow the whistle, and he would throw his hat like way up in the air. It was really funny.
Yeah, everyone talks about the leprechaun. Like, I don't really, to be honest, like I don't even really notice what he's doing out there. But when I watch the games back, sometimes I'm like, wow, he's really causing a scene over there.
Yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
that guy, he had me cracking up, which I don't know how they choose the leprechaun, but that's kind of,
yeah, he's got a lot of energy.
Yeah. And so Karson and I, we discussed earlier this season, we talked about that game, and it was apparent to me watching that every little thing was celebrated like it was a goal, like it was a victory, especially from Casey Choma, who I absolutely love watching. Can you talk about what was the vibe like in that game? Because it seemed like every ground ball, every caused turnover, every like someone tried to go one-on-one, you forced them back outside the 8. Every single play it felt like a huge impact on Notre Dame's team. Like y'all just wanted it so much.
Yeah. I think before that game, our coaches were just kind of pushing like win every single little battle in the game, whether that's a ground ball or like a draw or getting a step on your defender, or some like really small things, but like the small things will make the biggest differences, especially against a team as talented as Northwestern. So I think that was a huge focus of ours, and our sideline really leaned into that. And I mean, I know you guys have posted about them before, but our sideline is actually unreal. I think they're the best in the country, but I think they were a huge part of that. Like every time, there was a cause turnover or anything, like they were screaming at the top of their lungs, like banging their sticks on the ground. Like I think they really just create a lot of that energy that fuels, the people that are on the field. So huge shout out to them. They're awesome and totally got us going on the field in every little moment.
Yeah, the Notre Dame sideline is crazy. Off the top of my head, I think we've posted 3 celebrations this year, and 2 of them have been Notre Dame's.
Yeah, as you
said. Yeah, number 51. I don't know her name, but she is always at the center of it.
Yeah.
So
her name's Erin Hooper. She's a freshman, and she's pretty light, so they throw her up in the air.
That's why she was on top of the pyramid.
Yes. There's a long lineage of girls, like the shorter, smaller girls getting, thrown up in the air during the, on the 7th goal, like a touchdown. So
very cool. Yeah. She was a little shaky at the start of the pyramid, but then she got her balance.
She got it.
So I think lacrosse is such a game of runs, so it's important that you can the longer you can keep your run going in lacrosse is the more likely you are to win. So I feel like a sideline like that and celebrating everything just never lets the other team get any momentum, because even if they score a goal and then the next play they get a cause turnover, it's and you celebrate that their goal didn't even happen, then they're like, oh, crap. Like, you know what I mean? They can just immediately lose it, and like then their momentum disintegrates, and you guys are still like win. So I think the sideline is more important than people give credit for, and I do think that you guys are definitely the best sideline in the country. I would say.
I'm biased.
Shout out to the Hooper.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody that has even remotely close to a sideline like consistently. Like sometimes every once in a while somebody throws somebody in the air, but you guys are like you're on it every game. I feel like
you're awesome.
So could you explain? I feel like the three of you, they always call you guys like the three-headed monster on ESPN. Like this, they always say. I think that's what they say. I can't remember, but so like, could you just explain? I think to people who are still learning lacrosse or haven't like they don't like the old ins and outs of it. Could you just explain like how important it is to have you, Casey Choma, and Jackie Wolak all on the field? Because I think that that's something like really cool and really special that like helps you guys a lot. And I think that might not be something that all lacrosse fans can understand how important that is. So if you could just like elaborate on that and kind of share like how important that is, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I think the three of us being on the field together since our sophomore year, like consistently, we've just developed like a great chemistry on the field and kind of knowing what each other is good at and how to set each other up, the best we can to succeed for the team. And I think all three of us have like very different skills that work together very well. So, I mean, I would say I'm probably more of like a dodger and, can feed a little bit too, but Casey's like a lot better inside, like inside finishing. And then, Jackie's like probably the biggest feeder out of the three of us. Also can dodge, also can, obviously we can all do it all, but like, I think we have our certain like strengths and, I think if we were all very similar, like a little bit more similar, we wouldn't work together as well. And we wouldn't be as much of like a problem for, I don't know if that's really the right word, but I think like the blend of all of our skills is probably what makes it the most successful.
Yeah, I just think that like it's impossible for other teams because you can't have three good, like there's no three top defenders on a team. You know what I mean? Like there's like one defender that's like, you go on this girl, she doesn't get the ball. But it's so hard to do that with three girls because especially three girls with different skill sets. Yes. So I feel like that you really probably like to worry about three people who are all capable of scoring like at will if you don't defend them to the very best of your ability is so scary for a team. So I feel like I just think that's really cool, and especially for you guys having experience, like all three of you having experience together and experience just playing lacrosse for so long.
Yeah, and I think like really our middies too, coming in, like some of our other attackers, like they have such different skill sets also. Like, I'm sure you've seen like MK Doherty is like totally having a killer year, and like she has like a totally different like, skill set and like, I don't know. She just adds a whole different dimension, and same with, some of our other attackers and middies who are consistently playing. I think it's just a great blend of different skills for sure.
Yeah, well, it's amazing because you have so many people are so focused on like, okay, stopping like the three of you, I feel like. Then there's so many other people on your team who are just as who are talented as well and can come in and be like, oh, you're worried about the three of them? Like, hey, watch this.
Yeah.
And that's like what makes a team really good and really special, I feel like, is that like the three of you could just be distractors. You know what I mean? Like, and then those other people are like, hey, here I am, which you're not, obviously, you're still playing amazing. But like the fact that you could be and your team could still like capitalize on that space is, I think, really fun to watch, and probably why I love watching you guys play, because it's such a team with so much skill, I feel like.
Thank you.
So sticking with you three, did you communicate with them? Did they impact your decision to return? How did that process go?
Well, I think like going back to actually when we committed, like for, the first 4 years, me and Jackie actually were on like every visit together. We met in like 7th grade at camp, and we went to football games together, like during our recruiting visits. And we like actually kind of decided very like back to back that we were going to come here. So I thought that was kind of cool. And I also knew Casey, so when she committed, I was like, oh, that would be fun. But we've known each other for a while. And then in terms of kind of this last fifth year, I think we all kind of knew that we were going to come back. I don't think any of us were really satisfied with kind of leaving on maybe like not the note that we wanted to. So I think it was kind of a no-brainer for all three of us, to be honest. We all just kind of got that vibe from each other, but I don't know if we necessarily had like a little conference call about it, but it was pretty understood between all of us that we kind of wanted to finish what we started.
Very cool. Hey, it's working out so far. So I mean, good decision, Madison. And you're getting your master's degree. So
yes, I am.
I saw your LinkedIn. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
What can I don't remember what's the master's degree in analytics?
It's business analytics. So I was a finance major undergrad, and now I'm getting my master's in business analytics. So it's good combo.
You're gonna have a job lined up if you don't already. So awesome. So you've mentioned the COVID year a few times. I'm curious, what has the journey been like from that year to now? Obviously, you mentioned that COVID year you were undefeated, number 2 in the country, and that seemed like the year for Notre Dame. And then obviously you had some changes after that year. Andy Aldave got hurt, and then she ended up transferring, and you had Bridget Dehan, who was an amazing goalie, and she ended up graduating. So like a lot has happened since that time, and there's been a lot of ups and downs, a lot of close games. You've pulled off the upsets, you've come up short. Like it's been everything. So can you talk about what the journey's been like from first day freshman year to March 29th of your 5th year?
Yeah, I mean, I had kind of said this before, but freshman year was just kind of like sunshine and rainbows. Like everything was awesome. I was, experiencing everything for the first time. We were winning. We were beating like great teams. I think we beat like Duke, BC, Northwestern. I can't remember some of the other teams, but we beat some great teams. We were playing awesome. Like we didn't really have much of like a leadership role or anything. We're kind of just responsible for like going out and playing lacrosse. And then I think like as the years kind of went on, like you kind of mentioned, we had some great wins that were super exciting, but then some really disappointing losses. And I think like having that first year where we kind of only experienced good things, we just wanted to keep chasing that over and over again. So like every year we weren't really, satisfied with some of those bigger losses. The first one being actually in the Carrier Dome. I remember it. It was our first loss like ever at Notre Dame, the beginning of my sophomore year. And I just remember feeling like, oh my God, we've already gone through a year and we haven't even felt this yet, which is crazy. But yeah, I think like just learning from those losses and kind of chasing that feeling that we once had earlier on is something that's really defined this year. And also, like, as you mentioned, some people graduating, we lost like a lot of leadership, a lot of older girls who were kind of like setting the standard. So kind of going into that leadership role was definitely an adjustment, worrying about a lot more than just playing lacrosse and being a freshman on a good team. That was definitely an adjustment and kind of made me come out of my comfort zone a little bit and be a little bit more vocal. And I was pretty shy freshman year, like I didn't really talk a ton. And to just kind of, grow over the course of 4 years and be a captain last year and this year was definitely like a great moment of growth for me, for sure.
Awesome. And for listeners, so you've mentioned you didn't lose until your 2nd year. I'm assuming you didn't lose a lot in high school either because you won the state championship your senior season. So
yeah, we definitely
losing.
Yeah, my high school coach actually went to Northwestern and won 4 national championships there. Meredith Frank, she was in that whole era. I think I don't know, don't quote me on this, but I think she lost like 6 games in high school and college combined. So it was kind of instilled in me from an early age that losing was not okay. And then, you had to learn a lot from every one of them.
6 losses in 8 years is crazy. I think I had 6 losses in the first 2 months of my senior year alone. So
It's insane.
I think also like a lot of teams, like I remember when I got to school, like we went 4-12 my freshman year, so we didn't even know what it was like to win. Like winning was we didn't. It was almost like we didn't even when we would get close to winning, we would just lose because we didn't know how to win games. Like we didn't have that mindset. So I feel like it's really important. It's almost like really good for the rest of your career too that you had that and you knew what that felt like.
Yeah.
Because like we were chasing just not to lose because we just didn't want to lose again.
come on,
But,
Drexel.
I mean, we figured it out, but like at first, like that was a huge mindset that we had to change. Like my sophomore, junior year, it had to be like, oh, no, you play to win, you don't play not to lose. Because we were just so tired of losing. And I feel like that's you mentioning that. I feel like we should highlight because that's a really important mindset. I feel like to have an opportunity to have for the rest of your career is like knowing what that feels like, so that you know how to overcome in like those 2 1-goal games, how to like come out on top instead of just like go internal, because that's it. Like a lot of teams can do if they haven't had that kind of experience, especially like freshmen and sophomores.
Yeah, definitely. 100%.
So anyway, I just wanted to highlight that because I thought it was cool that you said it. But you mentioned learning a lot from your losses, and you guys have been on fire this year, like I said, and haven't really had a lot. You have 2 losses to Virginia and Syracuse so far this year, beaten everybody else. So what have you guys learned from those games that can help you win like the ACC championship, national championship down the road? What have you guys taken away?
Yeah, so the Syracuse loss came the weekend after the Northwestern win. So I think, we gained a lot of confidence in who we were kind of after that Northwestern win. And we had kind of been talking about all year, like this is going to be the best Notre Dame team that's ever come through the program. Like that's kind of our thing this year. And, I think we've always been talking about it, but we actually, did something that was like a program best. So that was really exciting and definitely built our confidence in ourselves that like other people were recognizing it as well. And then, the Syracuse loss came the next weekend, and I think we started fast and we kind of, got like a pretty significant lead at one point and kind of let them back into the game. And, they're an incredible team as well. But I think like kind of letting up and not playing a full game like to the best of our ability with that confidence from the weekend before was something that we needed to grow from. Just being really consistent throughout the whole game. I think our third quarter was a little bit rocky, and that was kind of the turning point. So we've been focusing on, having that strong third quarter out of halftime since. And then we went and played UNC and had a pretty big win there. It was the program's first win in Chapel Hill, which was really cool. So we kind of got back on track. And then played UVA and again lost by 2 at home. And I think something that we took from that was just like kind of our communication with one another and being super honest and direct like during the game. We kind of had like little heart to heart after that game. And I think honestly, we wouldn't have come out with some of the wins that we have since then if we hadn't experienced that earlier on. So pretty grateful for that experience. I obviously wish we had won, but I think we took a lot from that loss for sure.
Yeah. And honestly, like now you're having all these program firsts, but like now when you get to the ACC championship, like you'll have beat UNC, you'll have beat Northwestern. Like you'll be like, we did this once. So hopefully that like the high and low thing, it'll be easier to like make them little
Yes.
waves because you'll like been there, done that, not a big deal anymore or whatever,
Yeah. Definitely going to be tougher the second time around, but
we don't have to talk about that more.
So, like Karson said, 2 losses to Syracuse and Virginia. That's not a shame. Syracuse is a very good regular season team. No postseason dig included, but take what you will from that. And then Virginia. I thought Virginia was going to fall off a cliff this year, but they've been super good. It's been crazy.
Yeah, they're incredible this year.
Yeah.
They're playing really well. So I think both of our losses are definitely to great teams this year. Maybe higher ranked than what they were initially, but yeah, I think they've proven to be really good teams this year. So great losses to have, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. And just so you know, I thought y'all should have been ranked number 1 after you beat Northwestern. I put it in our Lax Extras group chat, so Karson can confirm. Okay, so I do think if someone were to ask me today, who are your 2 national championship picks, I would say Northwestern and Notre Dame, not one above the other, just like even. So I'm
Thank
loving
you.
what I'm seeing. I'm loving it. So I hope y'all keep it going. So
Appreciate that. Comes true.
for sure. Hey, we had Izzy Skane on last year. I told her she was going to win a chip, and she did. So
Okay, I'll hold you to that.
I hope Madison Ahern and the Fighting Irish can get it done this year. Okay.
Yes.
If you guys win it this year, we're gonna have to start charging because that means we can just tell people who's gonna win.
That's awesome.
We're gonna have to hit up Christine Halfpenny and ask for some national championship rings. Okay.
Yes, for sure.
Awesome. So as we wind down tier, what are your plans for this time next year? Obviously, you're getting your master's, like we discussed. Your lacrosse career has been absolutely incredible. It's not done yet, so we're not going to talk about it in the past tense. But what are your plans? Just anything that comes to mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think like college lacrosse is over. I would love to keep playing if possible after college. I think it would be, I love the game so much. I think I would really miss it. So in whatever way I can, probably still play and, whatever I can get my hands on. And then I think in terms of like career, I'm planning on being in New York, working in consulting, kind of working through a couple opportunities there currently, but that's kind of the roadmap for right now.
It's kind of crazy. So many players graduate and then go to New York City. There's like a hub of former players in New York City. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I know it is kind of crazy. There's a lot of Notre Dame people. There's definitely a pipeline there.
Okay, very cool. Do you have a specific section of the city you want to live in?
I honestly don't know New York very well, being from Boston, but I kind of wanted to stay on the East Coast, and I love the Midwest, but I think my time here is coming to an end. I think 5 years was plenty, but I really want to be back on the East Coast and be like close to home, but kind of try something a little bit new and different as I kind of start a different part of my life.
Very cool. Well, enjoy the peace and quiet then while you can, because
I know
South Bend, New York City is a little different.
Yes, definitely.
I was trying to think. I feel like, yeah, I was trying to think how to so you mentioned playing lacrosse after college, after college, and I was thinking about like the AU Pro Lax teams that they do, and then I was like, how do they do that for 5 weeks? Like, did they just leave? They're like, do you just I'm gonna go work remote for 5 weeks and then just dip? Is that how you do it? Do you know?
I don't know. I've heard from some people, and I think some people, like a lot of the players are coaches, I'm pretty sure. So it kind of works with their schedule, but I think people with like corporate jobs, some people go to like Baltimore, I think I heard, and kind of work in those like their own company's offices there for like a couple days a week. I don't know. And some people are virtual, so I think it's kind of a wide variety there.
Yeah. I was just curious. Anyway, that's where my brain was. I looked like I was staring off in the distance. I was trying to make all that make sense in my head.
Good question.
I always wondered. I was like, what do you people do? Like, how do you just go play lacrosse for 5 weeks?
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like we've talked about it a lot already, but David and I both have always just been rooting for you guys. I feel like in the 2 years that I've been doing this podcast, your guys' name comes up all the time as a team that either is surprising me or I want to win, or I think I picked you guys from ACC champions last year. I just am constantly I've just had you guys just have this really good feeling about you, and I love the way that you guys play.
She's a fangirl, is what she's trying to say.
I am really. I don't my question to you is why? Because I can't figure out why I am why I just love you guys so much as a team, and I just really enjoy watching you guys play. And so I don't know if you can answer this question but I was just curious, like, what do you think it is about Notre Dame that makes you guys so easy to root for? Like, is it the culture of the school? Is it the culture of the team? The way, like, team's playing style? Like, what do you think it is about Notre Dame? Because I think variety of sports, you run into people who are like, I wouldn't mind if Notre Dame won. I wouldn't mind if, like,
Well,
I
I
just
don't
feel
know
like,
about Notre Dame football. That might be another conversation. But
yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just my family then, because I feel like, oh, my whole life I've just heard, like, I wouldn't mind if Notre Dame won. And so I
Yeah.
don't know. I was just curious what you thought it was about Notre Dame that made you guys so easy to like root for.
Yeah. I think there's definitely like two different groups. Like there's definitely people who always root for Notre Dame and always people who don't like us. I think that it's pretty split there. But in terms of lacrosse, I think I mean that's a great question. I think a lot of it is because we've been like kind of on the cusp for so long. And I mean, personally, I love seeing teams that like haven't really been there before experience things for the first time. So I think that might be kind of a reason, but also in terms of like playing style, I feel like we're super passionate, like you said, like celebrating every little play, which is really exciting to watch because I think you can kind of see that passion on a lot of our faces, and in the sideline and in the coaching staff. So that and just kind of like the gritty play of our defense and like the draw team is so good at what they do, and like some cool goals, and I don't know. I feel like we kind of have a good mix of everything. But I would say like the gritty play of our defense is like definitely kind of a hallmark of Notre Dame lacrosse. That's like just super, I don't know, exciting and kind of shows our character a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's funny that you just said that, because as you were answering that question, I was like, I just feel like they're grittier than everybody else. And then you
the
literally like
fighting Irish.
Yeah,
seconds
exactly.
later,
That's
just
the
gritty.
reason.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys just seem like I feel like sometimes people take it too seriously. You guys never look like you're taking it too seriously. Like you guys just look like you're out there having a great time, and then also just happen to be really good at lacrosse. I don't know. You're right. I think that was a good answer. Thank you for answering my own question.
Shot at it.
So before we let you get out of here, something you said just made me think of something. So you mentioned about being on the cusp, and people like seeing teams do something they've never done before, which is why I feel like BC was like everyone was rooting for BC after they lost 3 straight national championships. Um, this season has been absolutely insane as far as everyone's winning, everyone's losing. No one's going undefeated. Michigan's going to lose, FYI. I hope not to break it, not to spoil anything. They're going to lose eventually. But everyone, it's been so crazy. Anyone can win on any day. Can you just share your thoughts on this season as a whole and how much parity we have as a sport and how great this season has been for women's lacrosse as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. I think everybody's kind of talking about that right now. And literally any team could beat anybody on a given day. So I think that like coming in and playing our most consistent Notre Dame brand lacrosse has been like a huge focus for us. And I think like in a couple games, we've started a little bit slow, or we've had a couple lulls, but we've always kind of gotten back to that by the end of the game in some of those big wins, like even some of those 1-goal games it looked like maybe it wasn't going to turn out in our favor. I think we like always kind of got back to that, and like having that consistency towards the end of the game when it really matters the most is super important, but just not like overlooking any team or anyone. I mean, crazy things have happened this year. So just remembering that like every game is a really important game, and no one win or loss like means more than another. So I think that's been kind of our mindset with all of this going on, but I think it's so cool for the sport too, that this is happening. I feel like for a while there were just like kind of 3 or 4 top teams that were like just beating everybody by a ton, and now it's definitely more exciting and there's more movement, which is really cool, I think.
For sure. And also, something that's working in Notre Dame's favor is y'all have won games in many different ways this season. You've scored a lot of goals, but then in the UNC game, I think you held them to 5. I think it was 7-5 maybe. And
Yes.
so being able to win in different ways, because you're not always going to be on your best defensively, goalie play, offensively on every given day. So, like, you have a lot going for you, Madison. You have a
Yes.
lot going for you.
Yeah, we always talk about how like sometimes, like it's going to be the defense's day, and they're going to have to kind of pull through on a given day. And sometimes it's our day and we have to, put up a couple more goals to, help out the defense. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Awesome. So Karson just accidentally left, I think.
I'm so sorry. I hit the back button and then I was like, oh, I'm gone. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
So yeah. So anyway, that's all I had. Did you have anything else for her, Karson?
No, I don't. I'm excited to keep watching you guys, and I'm rooting for you. And I think that you guys are going to continue to be really fun to watch this year. So thanks for coming on.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. This is awesome. I'm happy we finally made this happen.
For sure. It's been a few years in the making, and I'm glad Carson's her box is cut off so you can't see her UNC sweatshirt.
Yeah, I am. It's embarrassing. I almost didn't put it on because of the basketball loss that we suffered last night. But then it was the comfiest one I had clean. Yeah. So I was like, fine.
It's okay. I'll accept it today.
I didn't go undergrad there. You can't judge me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Enjoy Easter weekend. And I'm sure you'll get some messages from me on Instagram as the season progresses. So best of luck and do your thing.
Thank you.
Did you enjoy this episode of The Player and the Journalist? If so, please leave us a review and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.